Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. It's fantastic as ever to have you here. We're working on a Viking sword. I'm really excited because we just got done roughing out the background on our A side of our upper guard, and it's now time to stipple it. But first, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is NordVPN. NordVPN is a virtual private network service that integrates onto iOS, Android, Mac, or PC just fantastically, and is designed to keep you safe while you're browsing the internet online. And you can get 77% off a 3-year plan when you hit my link in the description, nordvpn.com/forge, and use code FORGE at checkout. Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring the video. Thank you guys for being here. Let's jump right in and do some stippling. First things first, I need to take this. This is a hammer action handpiece on my pendant drill, and it hammers, and I've got a little polished point on the tip. And we are going to use this to create a nice textured surface in the bottom of our background, which hopefully is going to help it capture the light and make it even darker looking and make it look more consistent than just the bulb finish that we achieved after roughing it out in the last episode. One side! I've done one side! Ah, holy moly! I've done a side! Oh my goodness, I've done a side. So now that means, after all that work, we can finally pull it out of the vise. Oh my goodness. I've spent so much time on that side. We can pull it out of the vise, flip it over, and start on the other side. You've got to make stuff to know what it is that I feel right now. Like, I've done 1 panel out of 4. It feels like you've just passed a benchmark in your life. It feels like you've passed like a really important stepping stone in your life, and yet it's only just a tiny little piece of steel with some, like, I mean, it's exciting to make stuff. It's exhilarating to get through hurdles. It feels good. It feels really good. There's a lot of me in this piece. There's a lot of effort in that piece. I'm gonna put some more in on the other side. Now we'll get to the other side. I'll stop being soppy. So I've got it roughly pencil sketched out onto the guard, and I don't like the look of it. I don't like the look of the design. Now, you know, I spent a good bit of time thinking about the design and sketching it, and we put it on this to be able to get a good idea of how the design would look with the space that we have, yet I don't like it. I think that right here there is too much dead space. There is too much background, and I don't think that that feels proportional to the rest of the piece. It feels like there's this big black hole of emptiness just right at that right-hand third. I don't like that look. I think that there should be more balance to this design. And as I look at this here, I feel the same thing. I look at this here, I feel the same thing. There's all this stuff happening here, and then so little here, all this stuff happening here, and then so little here. And I think I can improve upon that. So I'm gonna again take the pencil and paper, see what sketching I can do to get a better looking design. Okay, I think I've got the solution. I need to extend the length of this portion of the body, so this needs to stretch out. These curves need to happen at a further point that's a little more like this, and in fact, even more so. So I shorten up this distance here. I'm now gonna go to the piece and see how it looks there. Nope, not good enough. All of this has been a nightmare, an utter nightmare. Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning. Another hour just now on Monday, and I am still not 100%, but I think I've got something that we're gonna work with. On the one hand, I feel terrible about how much time I've spent getting to this point, because it's not physical work, it's not cutting lines, it's not doing the things that we need to get done to move this project along. But then on the other hand, developing the design and working towards something better, it's surely a worthwhile use of time, because I don't want to end up putting the hundreds and hundreds of hours that this project will have taken into it, and then end up, just roughing out a design, not putting any thought into it, and degrading the value of the whole piece. If I want to make something exceptional, that's the hope, that's the dream. This amount of design and thinking and pulling my hair out has surely got to be worth it. As I told you earlier, I didn't like the way that the space worked. I didn't like the way it balanced. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like the head angle. I didn't like the way that the tail came around, because we had this wonderful flowing figure-of-8 line and then a tail that started up here, and it didn't work well, and I wanted to find a way to break it up and make it look more flowing and more natural. So I've experimented with head angles. I've experimented with turning the head the other way. I've put loop-de-loops in, and I think finally this is what we're going to be going for. So I have settled for a hybrid of these two beasts. Now, when I drew this one first. I didn't like the way it worked with the rule of thirds. I didn't like the composition of it. I felt like these two loops were too close to the center, and so I wanted to move them out a little bit. And so I then drew this one. But the way this ended up, I didn't quite like how this beast's neck interacted with this loop. I drew this by trying to draw a scroll. So I drew a scroll from the mane, and then I drew a scroll around here, and obviously it's not a scroll, it's a loop, but that just helped me to get the distances right, and so it tells me now that I need to move that neck over. I like the positioning of these two. It works a lot better with the composition. Obviously, we need to have it end and terminate like this, because that then goes around to the end and termination on the other side. This is pretty much what we're going to go for, but we're going to include that neck modification, and so we're going straight to the steel to draw it on, make it look beautiful, and hopefully soon start cutting. Wow, I'm doing really badly. Goodness gracious, we're having serious issues here today. Look at that. What is happening? We're experiencing serious difficulties with this. Goodness, I'm terrible at this today. A little update right now. I am doing so badly today. My cuts are uneven. It's been like 5 days since I've used this tool, I guess now. It took so long to work on the other side. And I am really not doing so well. These cuts are not anywhere near how good they should be. It looks so bad. I've got a lot of cleaning up to do. With a few more passes with a 90-degree graver, it looks better than it did look, but it's still way below what I wanted out of it. I know I am just a beginner, but I still wanted better lines than I've ended up with. Cleaner cuts. Hopefully, there's still some room to clean it up before it has the final full effect on the actual inlay that goes into those lines. I think I'm about there with the line. I was terrified about how this was going to end up, and it didn't end up as bad as I thought. Those lines started off pulling, but by tilting and like kind of trying to just move the cut over with that little bit of, that little 0.5 millimeter of play that we've got, because we want a 0.5 millimeter wide line, I was able to just shuffle that line across, and it all looks a lot cleaner, a lot more flowing, but not as good as I wanted it to look. Now, what I now want to do is I want to make a tool to do the undercut on this side differently to the last side. On the last side, we use an onglet graver to cut away at a flat-bottomed groove. We now have a V-bottomed groove. And cut away material to make our dovetail. Now what I want to try and do is a different technique, which Layne Zulke demonstrated in a YouTube video. I talked about him on the last episode and that great tutorial of his where he shows how I could have cut my touch mark like a pro, because he's a master engraver. But I've also been given the advice to try this by Handgraver on Instagram. And it's essentially we cut our V, we then take a chisel and hammer in the undercut. And so it's an undercut created by deforming the steel as opposed to cutting away the steel. It makes the steel rise up, but certainly the way Layne Zulke demonstrated undercutting that touch mark looked like it worked really well, and I want to try that on this side to see if that gives us better control, better precision, better accuracy here. So it's back into the grinding room to take some more silver steel and make another little chisel. We got our chisels heat treated and made, and hopefully they work just fine. I'm a little concerned that they might be a little bit thin, but we've got a 45-degree bevel meeting in the center, and then a little bit of a bevel on the sides too. Hopefully this will work to undercut it. But I thought it'd be a good opportunity to thank our sponsor, which is NordVPN, in a completely different way. So let me tell you about NordVPN. So this is happy little you, ready to start surfing away. And over here is the internet website that you want to browse. And so off you go, you click onto it. And you arrive at the website. And then data goes from the website to you, and back to the website to you, and back to the website to... What? It can't be. It's the devilish hacker! And he's intercepted it. He's in there and he can see all the data that's going back and forth. He can see what the website is you're browsing. He can see what is the information you're sending. He can see it. Oh, look how mean he looks. So this represents your normal internet connection. But what if you click the link in the description and you get 77% off your 3-year Nord plan? Well, Nord has over 1,000 servers all over the world that will go to the website on behalf of you. So the website thinks a server, wherever you want, whether you want it to be in the UK, in France, in Australia, in Sweden, the website thinks that you're browsing from that country and you're browsing from Nord's server. Because the website sends the data to the Nord server, and that's where NordVPN does something very special. It encrypts that data, so it jumbles it all up and makes it secure to then be able to send it back to you. The interface between Nord and you is encrypted. So the hacker cannot get in. They've got apps for iPhone and Android, as well as Mac and PC, which means that you can be protected on your computer, on your iPhone, and hell, you could let your wife be protected and your kids be protected too. It's risk-free because there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, and when you hit the link in the description below, which is nordvpn.com/forge, and you use coupon FORGE, you're going to get 77% off a 3-year plan with Nord. Don't forget, nordvpn.com/forge, code FORGE. The link's in the description below. I can't wait to see you tomorrow on the next episode. Thank you, Nord, for sponsoring this episode. Thank you guys for being here. I am looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.